every experience related to is seen from the lens that there is something that's there, right? Like, and it's always personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything becomes a personal experience, whether it's good for me or bad for me. Every interaction with everything, and it creates obviously it creates suffering and excitement. But if you take that away, like that beingness is sort of just it's like a sense of freedom.
Welcome, Alessandro.
Hello, Ilona.
Great to meet you again for the second session. And I'm very curious to find out about your experience over the week, if you noticed anything interesting or different.
Yeah, so where we left off last week was with with the task of sort of seeing seeing things as they were occurring in nature, or rather than say labeling a bird as a bird or a tree as a tree, like seeing the bird fly as it's flying. Notice the bird fly as it's flying, or the dogs walking as they're walking, the trees swaying as they sway. Um, and yeah, just probably the biggest thing that I noticed was that they those things just occur, uh, regardless of whether or not I'm there or noticing them. They just occur, and there's nothing controlling those things from occurring.
And did you get an opportunity to stay a little bit in nature and see how this is also part of it?
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing as well. Like when you're there, noticing those things happening, there is no, I guess that separate self sort of starts to dissolve as you sort of just notice things happening and just notice sort of life unfolding in each moment. But yeah, I did notice.
Great. Okay, so let's see where you are today and what's cooking. So we can just center here for a few minutes, letting everything be as it is, just resting, nowhere to get to, nothing to achieve, already here. Okay, so this moment right here, right now is it. The wakefulness, awakening, or awareness. Some different words point to the same. This wakefulness is here, just noticing what's going on, what's present. And that's it.
Yeah, it's quite simple. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, you know, that is the case, and it's just it's just that separate self that, you know, separates separates that, like, it's puts definitions and constructs ideas about each moment, and the future and the past and where you got to be, what you have to do, what you need to achieve, or
And
you
who's
know,
doing that?
that's there's there's no one doing it. It's just thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just thought appearing.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like there is a separate self that is doing all these things or separate something. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
It's like I would come to a lake and I take my finger and I draw a circle on the lake, on the surface, on the water. I say,
Mm.
yeah, I drew a circle. Here you go. It's a separate thing. But in actuality, nothing happened. Nothing got separated.
Yeah.
So that thought may talk about a separate self or me or some entity here that is doing, perceiving, making things happen. But it's just a drawing with a finger in the water. Can you see that?
If I see even just now in those moments where there's just silence, it's almost like there's a need for something to be said, or uh I noticed that my eyes sort of divert from looking at my screen to like away from you, to avoid that silence.
Oh, interesting. Hmm. But let's stay in silence for a little bit, like really welcoming, rather than, oh, uncomfortable. Let's be with that uncomfortable if it arises, but otherwise just let's stay with that silence. Nothing needs to be said. What are you noticing in the silence?
Just, pardon me, just sensation arising, thoughts arising and passing, sensations arising and passing, and that's really all.
Hmm.
Nothing else.
Oh. And is anything or anyone there doing all that? That's the question.
No, there was just I did notice myself, like myself breathing and the breath coming in, inhaling and exhaling, and yeah, I just noticed that it was just happening. That there was no one there. There was no thought there or saying
Hmm.
to breathe in, to breathe out, or controlling my the breathing itself. It was just happening,
Mhm.
and the sensations were just arising and just passing. The feeling of my arms on the table on my desk just was the feeling. There was no like I couldn't change the sensation from what they were. And the thoughts were just a thought. There was not there was no as a thought would just arise. Like there was no prediction of a thought or what that thought should be or shouldn't be. Um, so to answer your question, no, no, nothing was controlling or no one was controlling anything.
Hmm. Okay. Then the next question is, was there ever somebody or something or entity or separate self or thought or anything in any form or shape, like what we call self, Was there ever?
No.
All right, then what's about the free will or
The what,
choice?
sorry?
About free will or ability
Ah,
to choose, decide. How does that work?
there is no, there is no, I mean, there is no, like, there's no one there there's no chooser or free willer. It just sort of happened. Like, the idea of choice is, is like, it's sort of redundant in itself. It sort of implies that there is something choosing, right?
Right. So here it is. It's as simple as that. Just noticing that everything is coming, staying, going, doing its own thing, like in nature. It's moving,
Mm.
living. And that idea of
Yes.
me, separate self, was apparently doing it, was never there.
Mm. And nice. So how does one sort of say, or not, like, just, it's probably not a, like, a question like, it's probably a question that I need to like
Okay, let's
to
formulate the
discover for
question.
myself.
Okay, just formulate the
Yeah.
question. What's the question?
So, like, how does one stay in that being, in, like, in beingness, without, like, in everyday life where you sort of, you can start to identify with thoughts and identify with, you know, the sense that there is a separate self. Like, how does one sort of not, like, it's a silly question because really,
You
like,
see?
just being should be easy, right?
Well, it's always on. It's not like a struggle to be.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to be?
Yeah. Nothing, like nothing.
Do you need not to think in order to be?
Well, no, like, you just understand, like, the thoughts that just, it just happen.
Hmm,
And I don't think you can get rid of thoughts.
exactly. Can you get rid of being or like stop being by accident or just intentionally? Just not be for a little bit.
No, it's always there. There's always, like, there's always like, the awareness that you're alive, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's
And
always on. It's not like you can
mm,
be more or less.
mm.
So how to stay in being all the time? It's on all the time. It's not a struggle. It's not a doing. It's not achieving
Mm.
something.
Mm.
But you can notice the being, like the sense of being or beingness, presence, whatever words. Again, the many words point to the same. And we can notice thoughts and stories and whatever is going on in upstairs apartment.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that you stop being or you need to try to be present.
Is that noticing of thought? Sometimes I feel like that noticing of thought is like like that 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 that's like, it feels like that can be sometimes that sense of, like, that separate self, just the noticing of thought itself.
All right. So you say there is a sense of a separate self. Let's challenge that. What is a
Sounds
sense
good.
of a separate self?
Well, it's almost like there's like there's thought occurring, and then there's something else beyond thought that notices thought.
All right. So that notices thought is the separate self.
Well, it's not the separate self.
So what is the separate
There
self?
is a there is no separate self. Like I can't because there's no way for me to see that. uh, To see that. Well, I guess it's just like a thought that's creating that idea that that is the separate self.
Right, right. Yes. Like, for example, something unpleasant happens, there is a contraction and there is a
Hmm.
resistance to whatever is happening, right? That tension, a muscular tension, plus the narrative, I don't like this shouldn't be happening,
Mm.
is what we call a sense of separate self.
Yeah. So the attachment to
Because I don't
a
like it.
certain sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The narrative says, I don't like it. And immediately there is I, something that doesn't like it. Plus that contraction in
Mm.
the body is like the proof I'm separate.
Mm.
Me, I don't like it. But if you
Yeah.
look at it, like it's a muscular tension, it's an energy contraction, it's thoughts, emotion.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is not a separate self. It's not me. I'm not that. I see
Mm.
that.
Yeah. I see that. It's just yeah. It like it's I guess like living for so many years not not knowing like you know it's sort of convinced it can like it's very hard, like it's hard to put into words or to articulate it, but they sort of convince you that it's there,
Hmm. Hmm. And it
you know?
seems so. It seems like it.
Mm,
If you have a fan, just a fan for air, and you can see there are four blades there. It's not switched on. So you see there is
mm,
one, two, three, four, five blades, let's say.
mm,
And when you plug it on, you don't see blades anymore. What you see is some kind of disc
mm,
creates that optional optical thing that we
mm,
say, oh yeah, it's a circle, it's a
mm.
disc. As soon as you unplug it, it spins a little bit and then it stops, and then you can see the five blades again.
Yeah.
So was the disc ever there? Or it appears so. You can really see it with your eyes, like you don't see blades, you see the
Mm,
disc. But it appears so, and you know it, that it's five blades spinning.
mm,
So here we go. We have five sense perception things going on, like color, sound, sensation, taste, smell. And when the mind is on,
mm,
it creates that narrative, that disc, about someone there at the center having the experience. So for the mind, there needs to be someone there to have the experience. That's how language is
mm.
constructed.
Yeah.
And then it appears as
Mm,
if there is someone here, but there
mm,
isn't.
mm,
So you still can use language as it is. I can say I 100 times a day, and I know that there is no separate from life, any one entity, some magical creature that is running the show. I can
mm.
still say I.
Yeah. No, I definitely like I can see that, and I do have moments where I have experienced, no separate self, but then you have other moments where it feels like it's there.
Hmm.
And, I've it does sort of over time, like I've felt like, the more awareness or observation that you have without the attachment, that it sort of slowly dissolves over time. And like, I mean, if I can compare myself to how I was 5 years ago,
Hmm.
I'm a diff like it's like there's probably less identification with this sense of I than 5 years ago. I mean, there's still obvious there's some it's still there, which is why I'm here. But yeah, like it's sort of over time, it's just sort of dissolved slowly more with the understanding and the experience.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even that in itself suggests that there is no I. Or even if it's like, yeah, like,
Yeah. In truth, it's our language that creates that illusion
mm,
of separate being. Because
yeah,
everything in language is a noun, a verb, subject, object, doing action. Like when you even say like grass is growing or bird is singing, there's someone there, something there, doing something.
mm,
So this word I is like a shortcut for this here, this one.
mm,
Instead of saying Ilona, I can say I. Instead of saying
mm,
Alessandro, you can say I. It's just a shortcut. Here, this experience,
yeah,
I am sitting in a chair. and,
mm,
and somehow this I that is sitting in a chair in the mind has become an alive entity that needs to, do things and be in charge and
mm,
control the outcomes and stuff. But he's just saying this one,
yeah,
this is just sitting.
mm, yeah, I definitely, I've definitely noticed that like language does, like, has created that. And it's even to the point now where, like, even when I say I, like, it's like I'll say I, but it's like, well, what do I actually mean by it when I say I? You know?
Well, I thought I is not what I am.
No.
And I thought I is actually empty. It's not
Mm,
it's not an entity as it was thought to
no.
be, like a magical creature
Yeah.
running the show.
Mm, yeah.
Ouch.
Well, it's like every experience related to is seen from the lens that there is something that's there, right? Like, and it's always personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything becomes a personal experience, whether it's good for me or bad for me. Every interaction with everything, and it creates obviously it creates suffering and excitement. But if you take that away, like that beingness is just it's sort of just it's just it's like a sense of freedom,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and silence.
Interesting, isn't it?
Mm,
And yet, all these programs, all these conditionings and beliefs and feelings and stories still remain.
mm,
like this body mind system operates like before. Nothing changed. Same likes, same dislikes. I like chocolate, I don't stop liking it.
Mm,
Everything remains.
mm,
It's like nothing is lost because there was
yeah,
nothing there in the first place. There was nothing there to
yeah,
lose, and nothing is lost. And that's just recognition of that.
mm,
How does it feel to see this?
just feels peace like peaceful, like really, like it doesn't feel it, but it doesn't really feel like anything. Like it just sort of is.
Sweet.
And I think, like, yeah, so like sometimes like the ideas, you can create an idea or like that there's something to be, like there is something to be achieved, you know? Like there is some sort of end goal and feeling that you're trying to achieve by, you know, looking at, you know, trying to dissolve this I.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it's just knowing that there isn't one. It just is like there is no feeling or yeah experience like magical experience.
Oh, so good you say that. Yeah. So many people are waiting for a magical experience. Like, oh, this
Yeah,
hasn't happened to me. I'm waiting.
yeah, and I feel like from my own experience have having this attachment to like a magical experience or a mystical experience, it sort of uh um I it sort of prevents you from seeing as it is.
Hmm.
Because then again, like even just that creation of the idea that there is one, there is a experience, is just the self, right? Is that separate self?
Yeah, so nothing happens.
Yeah.
It can be so subtle that you don't even notice when you stop believing in that I as
Mm,
yourself or as a being. Like looking past in your week, whenever that happened, you may or may not
mm,
have noticed.
yeah,
It doesn't matter really. It's not a magical experience. It's a drop of a belief.
yeah. It's almost just like daydreaming.
And just for fun, out of curiosity, are there any more questions about this separate self
Um,
at this point?
no, no, no more questions. There's just like I suppose, yeah, just noticing the thought just as it arises and passes, you know, in each moment, and same as a sensation in each moment, without identification of with those thoughts and those sensations. I've got no question.
So what happened to the eye? What happened to Alessandro?
Um, well, it was never there to begin with, so nothing.
Nothing happened. Yeah. So I guess
Yeah,
this pointer that we hear so much on internet, there is nobody here and nothing ever happened. Kind of
yeah,
seems right.
yeah. I think they're onto something.
They want to say. Hmm. Well, and now when you live a week till our next um, meeting here, you can notice something is different.
Mm,
Same situations, everything same, but something looks different in a way that it may look fresh.
mm,
It's like you have sunglasses on and everything is brown, and you walk all your life with these
mm,
brown sunglasses, and then somebody says,
mm,
"Look, you have sunglasses on," and you know, "Oh, no, I don't."
mm,
That's how it is. But then they say, "Okay, you
mm,
lift them up," and you're all like, "Oh, up," and everything looks different. That
mm,
sunglasses being that idea and a central idea that there is a me, or there is I, or there is somebody here that needs to awaken, or whatever ideas are there. There's
mm.
sunglasses, idea glasses, that
Idea.
idea glasses that makes us view the world in this weird way,
Mm,
even though everyone looks at it in that same weird way. But we can look at it without the eye glasses,
yeah,
and yet nothing changes.
yeah.
So as you see, there is no becoming, no getting enlightened or awake,
Mm,
no, no being awake all the time. All these
yeah,
concepts, just ideas,
yeah.
just the surface mind talking, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny and it's fun and it can be fun. You know, it's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's right. Just it just is right.
Hmm. So at this point, I wouldn't even give you a homework.
Mm,
Like I wouldn't even tell you focus on this or focus on that. Just enjoy.
yeah.
And then we meet again in a week and you can tell what you noticed, what's different, and there may be
Mm,
other stuff coming up. Is
yeah.
this is the point of recognition, and life continues.
Yeah.
That recognition can be so subtle or so significant. It doesn't matter at all.
Mm,
Like you want to rip your glasses off your head, or you take them gently off, or they fall.
mm,
Doesn't matter. What matters is the glasses are gone.
yeah.
And also there are different, let's say, levels of seeing this, which means there is deepening or more and more, it becomes more and more obvious on a different level.
Yeah.
So today, the way you see it today, in 10 years or in 5 years or in 1 year, will be different. Which means it's like a journey continues. The seeing continues. It's not a one-time event that happened. You notice it or not, it doesn't matter. But it continues. It's fresh. It's always now. It's always now. You're awake right now. The awakeness is right now. Awakeness meaning you see what you see without the sunglasses of idea glasses of I, a separate me.
Yeah.
But you know, they can be put on again and again and again, but you just see it again and again and so yeah, have fun. I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. I will. I'll speak to you next week.
Great, Alessandro. Wonderful to be with you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Have a nice week.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you found it useful, please share with your friends, like, subscribe, and help the channel to grow. And I will see you next week. We speak to Alessandro again, see how he's getting on with this. Bye for now.